episode 11 of our podcast. I'm Alex, one half of the Sober Experiment.
And I'm Lisa, the other half of the Sober Experiment. Today we're talking to Siobhan, also known as Not So Secretly Sober on Instagram. I first met Siobhan at a Be Sober Manchester meetup, and I have been dying to get her on our podcast. So here she is.
So Siobhan, welcome to our podcast. You are obviously you're not that much younger than us, but you are. You're quite a lot younger than us. What we'd like to get to the bottom of here really is for younger people, because it's all well and good. We're different. We've got children, we've got families, we've done a longer drinking career. But what brought you to sobriety at such a young age? Because you're 29, is that right, just?
I am. I turned 29 on Sunday.
Tell us about it. Tell us what brought you here and what your journey's been like.
So for me, I basically went to university, did that usual university thing, like binge drinking. I think from the age of like 17, when I was allowed to go into pubs, that's what I did really. I always binge drank because I was never allowed alcohol when I was sort of like younger. So when I had it, when I turned 17, I was going through a lot at home, and I was finally allowed all this freedom, and basically just abused it and abused alcohol. And I think because I was going through so much at the time, it was a nice way to not be me and to sort of like do something different and like really integrate myself into friendship groups, which before I was quite excluded from because I had quite a strict upbringing. Basically, this might be sort of too much information, but I was fostered from when I was 9, and my foster carers were quite strict, like in a really loving, nurturing way. But then they got divorced when I was sort of 17. And it was quite a sort of like traumatic divorce. So that was the first time that I felt like connected to the people my age, was when I was going out and doing what they were doing. Then I went to university, and that sort of behaviour, I was sort of drinking like 3 or 4 times a week, but binge drinking, blacking out from like literally from when I started drinking. And then my foster dad passed away when I was at the end of university. And again, it was something that I used to sort of like numb myself, like get out there, like not stop it sort of like affecting my social life. And then I moved to Milton Keynes, where I didn't know anybody. And I started working in recruitment. So recruitment's all like lads, like everyone going out every weekend, earning good money. I went to like places like Vegas, Ibiza, like proper party girl. And I remember when I lived in Milton Keynes, at one point I turned around to my friend, like, because my hangovers were savage, like paralysing, in bed all day, vomiting, like wouldn't make any plans on the weekend because I knew I'd be hungover. I'd still feel rubbish by like Wednesday, and then on Thursday I was like, yes, we can go out again. And I remember saying to my friends when I lived in Milton Keynes, I remember looking at her and just being like, I just want to be a sober vegan, like I'm sick of feeling like this. Anyway, moved to Manchester, didn't know anybody in Manchester, but I like the nightlife here is like mental, like loads of like really big nights with DJs and stuff that I liked. Gigs, like used to go to gigs, again, spent loads of money, didn't remember any of it. And I think as well, Manchester is a city where people go to university and then they stay here and live here. Yeah. So you meet people from all different walks of life, whereas in Milton Keynes it's people that have just sort of lived there their whole lives. So I started meeting people that didn't really drink that much or had been sober, and I met someone that was sober through AA, and she had been to a couple of parties I'd been to and still had like an amazing time. And so I was really intrigued about sort of what she was doing, and I spoke to her and she said about Club Soda. Yeah. So I looked at them, and at the time I was really into like minimalism. And so I was following loads of like minimalist YouTubers and stuff, because I'm a geek, and and they didn't drink because it was a waste of money. And like the whole point of minimalism is saving money that you can on stuff that like is actually going to benefit your life. So I read Russell Brand's book Recovery, and I read that about how much I was consuming and like my relationship with food. That's why I picked it up. And basically in that book it dissects the 12 steps. He relates it to everything that so it could be like gambling addiction, phone addiction, everything. So he breaks it down so you can relate it to different things, and at the end of each step he asks a series of questions,
right?
And I was answering them about alcohol, and that's not why I bought the book. I didn't think it was an issue really. So the seed was sort of planted there, and one of the questions in it was, what's stopping you from stopping this? And my answer was what people would think. Like I wrote it down, I was answering the questions in a book, and then I just sort of looked at myself and I was like, Siobhan, you spend your whole life telling people not to give a fuck about what other people think, and here you are stopping yourself from trying something that you think is going to really benefit you. Like, what if you can't live by like your main mantra, then what are you sort of doing? And then I read Kath Gray's book, because the people had spoke about it on Club Soda, and I could just really, really relate to all of it. And in that book, she's younger. Like a lot of the other literature around alcohol is written by people that are sort of like maybe in their late 30s, 40s, and again, like have kids and stuff like that. But I found it really relatable. And then this was in like November that I read that book. And then I was like, right, I'm going to do an alcohol for a year, starting from the 1st of Jan of 2019. And it got to my birthday, which was on the 15th of December, and I made people come from all around the country to go to a Disney bottomless brunch. They paid 40 quid for their ticket, they paid for their costumes, and I don't remember leaving the first venue. And I actually got us kicked out of the venue for being an obnoxious person. And so I woke up the next morning. Obviously I couldn't remember it because I blacked out, and I said to my sister, I was like, how was yesterday? And she was just like, it wasn't ideal. And I was like, oh my god, what have I done? So I woke up and I was like, right, that's it, I'm starting it now. I'm starting my alcohol for a year now. And then I think I went to Dublin in January, and so I'd been sober for like under a month. And I remember someone saying to me, like, how are you finding it? Because I made myself accountable. I announced it on my Instagram because I was worried what people would think. So I just thought, I'm just going to put it out there. Yeah, on your Facebook. But I did like this whole New Year's thing, and it was about the things that I wanted to change that year. So it wasn't just alcohol, but it was sort of saying it. And one of my friend that I went to Dublin with was like, how are you finding it? Well, how are you thinking about it? And I went, I'm never going to drink again. I was like, I love it. It's the best thing I've ever done. Like straight away, I knew. So yeah, that's me.
So how did Siobhan become not so secretly sober? Tell us a little bit about that journey, because we followed you on Instagram, Lisa first, and obviously when I'm not as sober as you are, and I started to follow you, and you know your videos, I've seen a few of them. You're just amazing, you are, and I think we both think you're amazing. You've already got a really big following. So tell us about that. How did that even come about?
So Not So Secretly came about because I initially, like, it's really ironic that the reason that I didn't want to drink was because I was worried what people would think of me and stuff like that. But like I just couldn't stop talking about it, and I felt like I was in on a secret that nobody else knew. And I just had to tell everyone about it. And I was like, if I keep putting stuff on my personal Instagram, all my friends are going to be like, you're a nut job, I don't want to be your friend anymore. So that's why I made Not So Secretly Sober. And part of it was as well because I wanted people to know that all the worries that they have around sobriety or drinking less are literally just in your head. And that there's loads of people that are there, and that can help you, and just and as well, I really enjoy like writing. Obviously, I'm a massive show off, so
And you should be.
so it's just a way for me to sort of like reach out to people, and it's been I've loved it. This year lots of stuff's happened, so I haven't been able to pay as much attention to it as I like, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy writing, and I like when people message me and ask for help, I'm like, how privileged am I that people like feel that they can message me and ask like, how do you do this, how have you found this?
I think it's just amazing, Siobhan. And like you were saying before, it's like being in a secret club, isn't it? I found that. And honestly, I can really relate to what you were saying about your friends, you know, with on your social media. Like, my friends must have thought I was, in fact, they've probably deleted me. I've got a completely different social media presence now than I had at the beginning. And I remember having to write on my Facebook, look, I've created this page because it's for all my sober stuff, because I can't stop talking about it, because I just love it so much. And if you don't want to follow it, that's fine, you know, because I just wanted to talk about it all the time. Is it like, are we ridiculous?
No, I think it like people just need to know about it, and that's why it was like not so secretly, because I do not want it to be a secret that I'm sober. I want everyone to know about it. I want everyone to know how good it is.
You still go out though, don't you? You still do the whole club scene, the pub scene. You're not missing out.
Yeah.
At all.
So when I was I think it was like April, I went to a drum and bass night. I was out till 4 a.m, dancing at the front.
I love that.
Like literally, like had the best night. And it just made me realise like music is like what like gives me a buzz. Like it was the music that kept me there till 4 a.m. It wasn't like booze or whatever. I still go to loads of gigs, like live music. Like I love boys with guitars.
Oh, so do I, Siobhan.
I can't say it, but so do I.
And I still go on nights out, but I pick my nights out. So it has to be a decent crowd or a decent venue. Like I'm just not going out every weekend. And when I go out, when it gets a bit rubbish, I'd go home. Like,
do you say no now then?
Yeah, I say if there's a night or a party or something, I'm just like, nah. Like, or if it's going to be somewhere that like I wouldn't choose to go, I'll be like, no. But if it's someone that I care about and they want me to be there, I'll go. But in the unexpected joy of being sober, she says nothing good happens after midnight, I think she says, and it's so true. Like you look around, you see everyone, like the spark goes from their eyes.
I know exactly what you mean. It does.
And just like, see you later, guys. They don't even notice that you're gone, but you've been there, you've had a good time, and then you wake up in your own bed without your makeup on, and it's just amazing. And you don't cancel plans the next day. Sorry, I'll stop. You don't cancel plans the next day.
No, that is a benefit actually. You get a full weekend, don't you?
Yeah.
What was I forgot now what I was going to say because I rudely interrupted you, like I said I would do. Oh, I've remembered. So tell me about your friends, because we came to your birthday party, which was well good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, because I want you to read something out that you did at your birthday. Mm-hmm. But you had some friends there. So your friends are still drinking, going out. Yeah. Have they been supportive of you?
My friends have been amazing. And I hope that I'm not in the minority there, but I sometimes think that I am when I hear other people's experiences. So I'm really, really privileged. I think though, part of that comes from, and I know that when I've said this to other sober people, they relate, I was the instigator. Like when I go on nights out now, and even if I have a soft drink, I drink it faster than everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you think like that's what I was doing with alcohol. And again, like I mentioned Dublin. When I went to Dublin, me and the girls, we went to the Guinness, the factory thing that they had there. And so we had lunch, the girls had a drink. We went to the Guinness thing. They had a drink. Then we had like an evening meal, and they were like, "Oh, I'm not going to have a drink now. Like, I drank enough." And I was just sat there, like, even as a sober person, I was like, "What do you mean you're not going to have another drink?" Because once I started, I couldn't stop. So that then, like in January, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it was me that was making everyone drink. It was me that was up for every night out. It was me that would be sat in my pajamas on a Friday and be like, "Oh, come on, we're going out." So I think they're all a bit relieved, to be honest, that they don't have that pressure. But they've all been amazing. One of my friends got me a necklace with my soberversary on. Like one of my friends came up from Milton Keynes to come to my event. All my family have been really supportive, and I think as well they're so supportive and happy because I am.
Yeah.
I think if they could see that I was struggling with it and that I wasn't happy doing it, then they wouldn't. And as well, I'm really fortunate that I still have like the confidence to go out. I know that a lot of people rely on alcohol as like a social like lubricant, and I didn't. So, and I think when I look now at what I said about the spark going from people's eyes, it dulled my personality.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think part of them preferred me when I was drinking because I'd like shut up. But but yeah, I'm really lucky about my friends. I know that some people do struggle with that. But yeah.
I'm wondering now though, if people do struggle, if it's because they haven't made the effort to go out, or not made the effort, but maybe they've not felt as comfortable with going out really early on. Because I know that when I stopped drinking, I stayed in for weeks, like just to avoid going out, because I didn't know what else to do. And I kind of saw it as an experiment of, right, what do I do if I'm not going out drinking? So I kind of, looking back, actively avoided people. And I bet, thinking about it, they kind of thought I was avoiding them. I wonder if that's where the divide kind of happened.
I think they can associate. I think people can, because in sobriety you do change, and it's for the best. In my personal experience, it's been the best. But I think if you're changing something that somebody thinks is going to be like a bit of a comment on them or what they do in their spare time, and then you like completely like disassociate yourself from the activities that you do with it, then they're going to associate that with your sobriety. They're going to think, oh, she's sober, she doesn't come out anymore, she don't want to do this. Whereas I went sober on the 17th of December, and me and my sister always go on a big pub crawl on Christmas Eve. I still went, but I just went home, like I said, when everyone started to be like, and as New Year's Eve, I went out, and I went to that night Ultimate Power that we're gonna go to.
Oh
yeah, and that was like that was New Year's Eve, and it was amazing. Obviously, I'm a show off, so I just sat there with like an inflatable microphone all night, like singing my heart out. But everyone was doing it, and I live like this parallel life now, where I see how the night or the day would be if I was drinking.
Yeah.
So I spent that night thinking, if I was drinking, I would be at the bar and I would be like, oh, I love this song, I'm missing it. Or I'd be like, why have you just spilt my drink? Whereas I just had like the freedom to enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think I had good experiences when I was newly sober.
I've been very similar to you. I mean, obviously, because of my family circumstances, I probably wasn't going out as much as you were anyway at that point when I gave up. But yeah, I just went straight out and carried on with it. I'm quite a social butterfly like that. I like to just get stuck in. I don't really want my life to change too much. Simon Chappell, we were speaking to him, he interviewed us, and he was saying that people like you, I mean, he didn't say you, obviously, but who've got that mindset where it is just going to be, this is my choice, this is what I want to do, and this is my mindset. You're going to be more successful, aren't you? Because you've not got fear of missing out. You've not got FOMO.
Yeah, I got the biggest FOMO I've had this year. And I think Lisa will be able to tell you, was when I was in Mexico, and I was in Mexico, right?
Aww.
Like having the most amazing time. But it was when Fern Cotton's Happy Place Festival was there, and Kath Gray and Russell Brand were there. And I'm like, now you said FOMO, it's triggered me. I'm like, that was going to be amazing.
You're in Mexico with FOMO.
But the FOMO is about a sober festival. Like, how amazing is that?
That is pretty amazing, actually, when you look at it like that. Because you know what? I did really feel, even though you was in Mexico living it up and having an amazing time.
I wouldn't have felt for her. God.
No, I knew that, especially like with Kath Gray and Russell Brand, that was something that you'd have really, really enjoyed. But she's doing another one, Siobhan, so we'll have to
go there. No Mexico. No Mexico.
No,
next
no
year.
Mexico. Don't book any holidays until the dates are out. If you're listening, Fern.
Can you tell us, in terms of like the benefits that you found as a young person, giving up alcohol? Me and Lisa both say if we could change anything about going sober, we'd have done it 10 years ago. And so you're like there, really. You're our 10 years ago. Give us your benefits from your perspective, the things you might have been able to do sober that you would have missed out on. Tell us about that.
So the thing that I always say that I resent alcohol for the most is the time that it stole off me. And that wasn't just sat drinking in pubs, that was like my hangovers and stuff. So for me, it's getting all that time back, being able to see like 3 different people in a day. Sobriety as well for me gives me an excuse to literally do anything, because I'll be like, oh well, I'm sober, I can do this. So it's always like the best excuse to like treat myself or turn down plans that I want to do or say yes to things that I do want to do. When we were talking about Mexico, one of the reasons I wanted to go was because I wanted to go to Coco Bongo. I don't know if you've like heard of it, but it's like a massive like nightclub. And even as a sober person, I was like, right, we're going to Coco Bongo. Because it's what I enjoy. I do enjoy like nights out and music. And then when we were there, it was like the last week that you could go swimming with whale sharks. And I said to my friend, I was like, we're not going to go to Coco Bongo. I was like, let's spend the extra like 60 quid each and swim with whale sharks. And so we did that. That was amazing. On holiday as well, you literally couldn't get me out of the sea. I was just snorkeling all day. It was like the most amazing thing. Whereas if I was drinking, I'd have been just day drinking all day. Yeah. And then I probably passed out and not made it to tea. I would like to say money, but like I said, like I'm this year, if I wasn't drinking, I don't think I'd achieve this, but I managed to sell my flat in Milton Keynes and buy a house here. So I've used a lot of money on that, but I've also, like I said, like I've been to Mexico and stuff like that. So I don't have any extra savings, but I have experiences that I remember. And as well, this is something that I don't think is really spoken about enough in the sober world, is how I feel about my body through being sober. So I'm like a size 18, like curvy. And I just wasn't like, it was just a thing that I had to deal with basically in my body. Whereas now I see it, and as well, like when you think about like what I did to it with hangovers and stuff, it was awful. Like I made it vomit like every weekend, like all day, made it starve. And now I see it as this like amazing thing that can take me on walks and let me go swimming and scuba diving and that can like, I feel so much better about just myself thanks to sobriety.
Oh, that's lovely. I really love that.
I do. It's really, really nice to hear that. I always think that actually about my body. Like if somebody put me into my old hungover body, I swear to God, I think I were dying.
Yeah.
I
Because
wouldn't mind my rubber body from 10 years ago, if I'm honest.
I remember when I did used to go out all the time, I'd go into work where I used to work and tell them about my hangovers, and they'd be like, mate, I do not know how you do it. Like, how can you think that is worth it? So
I was exactly the same. Siobhan, sorry, Alex, you really distracted me then doing that. I can't, like, I'm going to quickly go back to your birthday, Siobhan, because you read something out at your birthday and it actually made me fully cry. Like I
really did. I was watching her. She's in the car.
Yeah, because I am a lot more emotional now I'm sober. I won't lie. I'm a lot happier when I'm happy and I'm a lot sadder when I'm sad. This is something
I'm the same.
I'm finding. But what you'd done a letter to yourself.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us about that, please, or read it out for us? Because I just think it will really, really help other people.
Do you want me to read out the whole thing? Or
yes,
just
please.
the letter?
Yeah, read it out.
Yeah. Okay. So this was basically at my event, me and Lucy Spraggan, who's also sober, she kindly offered to speak there. And so I just wanted to sort of acknowledge how hard, I think the hardest part about sobriety is deciding to do it. So that's why I wrote the piece that I did. So this is it. This time last year was a very different picture, and it was the end of one chapter of my life and the beginning of a new, challenging, exciting, and absolutely life-changing one. A year ago today, I insisted that my friends and my family travelled from far and wide to attend a Disney bottomless brunch with me. The tickets cost £40. People had paid for their amazing costumes as well as their travel, and I didn't remember leaving the first venue. After being sober curious for a couple of months and having already decided on a year alcohol-free challenge, I started almost 2 weeks early, having decided enough is enough. I've been thinking about how scared I was when I first started this journey, and how worried I was about what other people would think. Would they think I was boring? Would they think I was different? Would people not want to hang out with me? I've written a little letter from the me today to the me then. Siobhan, I want to let you know that although you're scared, everything is going to be okay. Right now, you feel like your new path is going to isolate you, when in fact, you'll become closer than you ever have to all of your friends and family. You're going to treat them how they deserve to be treated, and they are going to offer you endless support in return. You're going to make new friendships, life-changing friendships, and be happier than you ever have. You're going to climb mountains, have big nights out, and start enjoying being alone and being still. You're going to have more time than you ever have had, and feel like there still aren't enough hours in the day. You're going to say yes. Yes to long walks, yes to running, yes to swimming with whale sharks, and yes to pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You're also going to say no. No to mediocre nights out, no to hanging out with people that don't deserve your time, and no to boys. I mean, who has time? You're going to go through some really shit times, but I promise you that you have all the tools that you need to cope with them, not just a bottle. Most importantly, you're going to learn that you're okay. You're a nice person, and that you deserve so much more than hangovers in an overdraft. Your body is amazing and does lots for you, and your mind can do anything you set your mind to. Trust me. Ta-da!
It's just
That's
beautiful.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
It really is. Do you know what? I want to be your mum for a minute. I'm so proud of you.
You don't want to have
you guys are all my mums. Honestly, I think you guys are all so like nurturing and amazing. You can both be my mum.
You know what, Siobhan? Honestly, like when I look at you and when I listen to things like this, I do feel a weird, like, well, I don't know whether it's weird or not, but like a sense of pride. Like I really, really admire what you've done at the age that you've done it, and it's just such a joy to watch. I love watching your Instagram. I love spending time with you when we go to our Be Sober events. I just think You're really, really inspirational, and you should be so, so proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you. I hope you guys are too. You're amazing. Honestly, I think your podcast is amazing, and I love you both so much.
I'm just so glad we've got you on it.
We're having a big love fest now here.
I know, it's a good job we're not near each other, because we're not very good at hugs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Before we finish, what's for the future now? What's next for you, Siobhan, in terms of your account, in terms of your profile, in terms of you as a person? What's next?
So, New Year's resolution is to do more videos, because I love doing them. Even though I'd never edited a video before, never made one, and I hated my face, and editing it took me about 5 hours, and then I was like, actually, my face is all right. So more videos, because I have my own place now, so I can like allocate time to do it. More content, just like in general, and potentially a podcast as well.
Yes!
So yeah, and as well, although I think it was really bad timing for my event, because obviously I'm going through so much at the minute, I was honestly so worried about it, but I loved every minute of it, and I feel like everyone else did too. So I'd like to be able to do something like that, and I think what you guys are doing is amazing with the tour that you're doing. And that anyone is welcome, like even if they're not sober and they're just sober curious. So I'd like to do more stuff with sober curious stuff. That really inspired me when I saw it this morning, and I think it's really important. You should both be very proud of yourselves.
Oh, thank you, Siobhan. And you know what? I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm really looking forward to it, because like I said before, and I keep saying it, you are such an inspiration, and I think people really look up to you. And if you can do it, it's just, I think, going out, going to the clubs, listening to the music, dancing, your confidence, just all of that is just really inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Lovely talking to you.
No, thanks for having me.